Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Habibah Salsabila. I came from Electrical Engineering Department. So today I will tell you about what I can learn from the video of NUDC 2020 judge tests, answer and discussions. So far, what I can learn is from the questions Q&A section from the video. So there's 10 points from the sections. The first one is the first one is the questions is the judge must punish the prime minister who does not provide a definition of keywords in the motion. So of from the video I see like the answer is wrong, while the prime minister is advised to define the important elements of the words in the motion. But if the result becomes an issue in debate, then it doesn't matter. The problem is, especially when the opening opposition understand and agrees that the arrangement the arrangements that have been given by the prime minister, then that should be fine. So it is a recommended element in their speech, but it's not requirement for them to do so, and therefore the judge should not penalize the prime ministers for not providing definition of the keyword. And the second one from that I can get from the Q&A section is about the questions is examples or contents context don't count as extension for closing themes. So the answer is also wrong, as I mentioned it in the bears and also educational seminars. In the extension counts as anything's new, so you can bring a new context, new examples, things are different and unique, which can expand the debate further. So it doesn't need to be positive material or examples of argument or context. It can also count it as an extension of the closing theme. And number three from the Q&A section is the theme. The questions is the theme that has the lowest speaker score in debate is the theme that is in fourth place. In debates, it's wrong. What is item specifically say speak the speaker with the lowest score? So it's very possible for someone to get like say to get like 65, but their teammate gets an 80, and that team could be ranked first, second, or third. So it's so very likely that the lowest score had in a debate will not be from the team that plays fourth. This is a trick questions because I think a lot of people assume that we mean the lowest as the terms of accumulated team scores, but it's not the question. So um, many people get it wrong. And number four, questions is we are encouraged to prioritize giving a biased assessment of debate and then responding. So the answer is true. So while obviously you know that being responsive is some kind of inherent speech element in any debate format, what's unique about whipping in British parliamentary is that it's not like a 20, it's like three-way styles whipping in Asia. There is a lot of contents being talked about and discussed, and therefore it is important for the whip to then provide a bias assessment of the framing. The argument in debate make it easier for judges to sort out which arguments that are more important for them to consider when making a decision. And number five, in policy motions, the opposition is required to present those arguments that are false argument, and the answer is false. Propose proposed reply to this answer, one of the opposition team's only obligation is to oppose the motion. So the opposition team has no obligation to resolve the problem. It is fine if the opposition team just say that, well, like they don't agree, or they agree about that the status quo is problematic, but this motion will bring more harm or make a situation worse. So it is better for us do nothing than do something that only makes the problems or its urgency worse. Try to answer it in debate, and we also feel that many of judges have answered correctly. This important to set the record straight that again the opposition team doesn't have the burden of resolving that issue. The opposition's team burden in the debate is to simply op- uh, oppose the next part of motion because it is right or wrong. And number 6, speech with loss. The question is, speech with loss of a lot of facts and statistics should be seen as more persuasive than speech without. So the answer is clearly wrong. It doesn't matter whatever or not, whether or not you have facts, the statistic, and all this data, because what is the most emphasized in debate is your logical argumentation, how you can explain the reasoning behind the argument. So if it's clear, if you have facts, if you have statistics from your a safe clear issue will be useful and can be increase the persuasive of your speech. But that doesn't mean that it's only way you can persuasive, because there may be times where the speaker only states facts and statistics, but there is no logical reason whatsoever, so it is not persuasive. So clearly the most important element is the logical argumentation. Facts, statistic must complement these elements items. And number 7, the questions is that I can get from the Q&A section is, speaker who speak for 6 minutes or less should be penalized with reduced score because under this time. So the questions is wrong, because the judges is not a format of punish people just because the speaking without the times of limits are very possible that someone who only speaks like 4 or 5 minutes actually gets higher score rather than someone who's speaking for full 7 minutes, because what is important is the content. It is possible for someone to speak for 7 minutes but speak it just repetition of one point and then repeat again each of those 7 minutes is so it is clearly not persuasive. So the important thing to take away this item is that it doesn't matter your time, but the matter what is matter is the contents is delivered, is using the time that you the times uh, for your speech. And number 8, what I can get the questions is, a speaker who speaks out of against a teammate should be judged less persuasive than one who doesn't. So this time the answer is true. This is basically one of the most basic rules of British parliamentary debate is that you have a maintain consistency internally within the team and also externally within the bench, and therefore if you contradict the speaker either in your team or on the bench, then it will be seen as less persuasive as it in becomes confusing. And number 9, the questions is, the teams that only respond should be penalized for not having a positive material argument or closing extension. So the answer is wrong. So in the old school of doing things, people spirited arguments and responses, but as debates in flow, we now consider everything as a point, also as an argument contextualism contextual, it is therefore possible for a team to undertake the response to prove or policy without having any materially positive argument so they can actually win. And the last number 10. So the questions is lower feedback should be given fellow panelists who decide to change their decision quickly after listening to other panelists' explanation. So the answer is wrong. In fact, we strongly recommended that in British parliamentary adjudication to reach consensus so clearly there will be different initial calls between the panel chair and the trainee, and that's what the words process is for, so that you can get your perspective straight. Maybe one of the panelists didn't hear or didn't really catch the specific point that another panelist made. Therefore, if you can compromise and change your decision, that is fine, and it doesn't matter if it's fast and or longer. Basically, changing your decision shouldn't be punished in from the lower feedback, so it is wrong. So the reflection that I can get from the previous task is I can get two like 2 point from the short answer. The first one is you are the on with the questions, you are the only panelist who judged together with the chairman. Unlike the chair, he didn't have time partially explain or justify his initial decision. He's only start discussion in the last few minutes before 15 minutes were up. What do you do situation? So the answer is looking for to make you become a good adjudicator. Maybe you can use the remaining time to convince the chairman of your decision. If the chairman remains firm, you must obey him, and the chairman decision is the chairman decisions, because the chairman has the final position. Even if there is a vote, you are the only panelist and cannot be removed from the seat. A decision that takes into account the fact in an even number parliament, the speaker has 2 votes to decide the possible tie, and therefore does not make much differences. However, once once the run over as a judge have to convey this to central decision maker, and the chairman is terrible at managing time and moderating discussion. And also essential, this process violates the process of how we evaluate and consider. It is important for us to receive the feedback so we can address this issue in the future, and see what we can do and take first steps to improve the situation. This is the answer we are looking for. Some answer that we consider wrong actually ask for extension of discussion time. So we have strict rules to ensure all discussion take place within 15 minutes. If you can exceed the time, you must vote. The reason is that you have too much time, you might end up and reading everything. We also have scheduled to we have scheduled that we have to stick to, which is very good. That is competition for us.